I'm your announcer, Chris Kale, and welcome to week number 10, Akron Auto Auction MSA Super Modifieds Night at Thunder in the Valley. We are blessed to live in the greatest country on earth. Would you please honor our nation and stand? Gentlemen, please remove your hats for tonight's invocation and the playing of our national anthem. Presenting the colors tonight, Kyler Bertram. Can we please have a moment of silence for the Marines who lost their lives selfishly in Chattanooga, Tennessee this week? Lord, we thank you for the many gifts we receive each and every day. We thank you for the beautiful weather, and especially for our armed forces who continue to protect our freedom each and every day. We ask that you please watch over our drivers, teams, crews, track officials, and our wonderful fans here at the racetrack and throughout the week. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. Get ready to go racing in heat race number 1 of our McIntosh Oil Company late models. Mike Miller and the Mountain State Missile Jonathan Ritter on the front row. Green flag is in the air. 8-lap heat race in your McIntosh Oil Company late models. Ritter going to get loose on the top side of the racetrack. Miller will take over the race lead into turn number 3. Mike Miller will lead lap number 1. Ritter will fall back into second spot. Glenn Galt Jr. looks to take over the third spot from the 42 of Stankiewicz as Ritter falls in behind the 53 of Miller. Stankiewicz now up to the third spot. He's going to look for second on the outside of Ritter. Ritter fighting some handling issues with that number 28. And here comes your top qualifier, Bubba Smith, up to the 5th spot. Miller continues to lead, 2 by 2 by 2 behind the 53 of Miller. Ritter and Stankiewicz, Glenn Galt Jr., and Bubba Smith. Larry Baker in the 6th, the 03 of Johnny Hughes, and the 21 of Rick Sibla still on the racetrack. Stankiewicz up to the 2nd spot. Mike Miller, your race leader. 5 laps in, about 2.5 to go for the 53 of Miller, the 42 of Stankiewicz, and here comes Bubba Smith on the outside, looking to take over third from Ritter. Galt back to the 5th spot. Larry Baker is in 6th, Johnny Hughes in 7th, and now the 21 of Rick Sibla pulls pit side. White flag in the air for the 53 of Mike Miller. Down the back straightaway, into turn number 3. Bubba Smith going to take over the 3rd spot from Ritter. Probably all the farther he's going to get. Mike Miller will be your winner. Tom Stankiewicz in 2nd, Bubba Smith in 3rd, Jonathan Ritter in 4th, and Glenn Galt Jr. rounding out your top 5. Pulling into downtown Ford Victory Lane in heat race number 1 of your McIntosh Oil Company late models from Clinton, Ohio. Put your hands together for the 53 of Mike Miller. The 17 is Bob Snyder Jr. The 31 machine is Tom Early. And the 47 is Dave McAllister. Looking for the green flag off of Ford. Green is in the air. Hoop and Garner with the race lead into turn number 1, or off turn number 2 rather. Martin slips back. Now contact between Martin and Bryant Smith. Martin way up the racetrack. Bryant Smith with some right front damage. Tom Early also slow. Caution on the speedway. Lots of damage for the one of Bryant Smith. Heat race number 2 of your McIntosh Oil Company late models is green. Jay Berg's going to get a good start and takes over the race lead until Matthew Mills gets to his outside off of turn number 2. Mills will take the race lead into turn number 3, drop to the bottom of the racetrack, and Matthew Mills starts to pull away from Jay Berg. Hoopengarner runs into 3rd spot. Here comes Mike Martin up to 4th. Snyder Jr. in 5th, Early in 6th, McAllister in 7th as Matthew Mills continues to lead. Good 3rd place battle between Hoopengarner, Snyder, and Martin as Mills continues to lead. Ron Jayberg Jr. runs in the 2nd spot. Battle for 3rd. Snyder tries to get to the inside of Hoopengarner. Now contact in turn 3. Hoopengarner in 3rd. And Martin in 4th as the green flag back in the air. 5 to go. Mills will take the race lead. Jayberg drops to the bottom. Here comes Martin. Martin takes a look to the outside of Jayberg off of 4. Not going to be able to make it work. Jayberg closes the door. Martin a little squirrely in turns 1 and 2. Field starting to get strung out. McAllister drops to the inside, allows Snyder to get around. About a lap and a half left in heat race number 2. Matthew Mills, your race leader. Jayberg runs 2nd. Good battle for 3rd between Martin and Hoopengarner. Hoopengarner to the bottom. Martin on the high side. White flag is in the air. And off turn number 4, heat race number 2 to Matthew Mills. Ron Jayberg Jr. finishes 2nd. Mike Martin in 3rd. Gary Hoopengarner in 4th, Tom Early in 5th, Bob Snyder Jr. in 6th, and Dave McAllister rounding out your field. Heat race number 2 winner. Put your hands together for New Philadelphia, Ohio driver in the Thompson Electric DTS Screen Printing Embroidery K West Group Frontier Tool and Equipment Blenier Family Truck Repair sponsored number 4, Matthew Mills. Shiree, Palmer, and Leonard, your field in heat race number 1. 10-lap heat race, 30-lap feature coming up a little bit later on. Green flag off of turn number 4, Jaycox and Paler. Paler will take the race lead down the back straightaway. Jaycox in 2nd, Shiree in 3rd. Palmer runs 4th and Leonard in 5th. Jim Paler pulling out to the race lead over Kevin Jaycox Jr. Starting to distance himself just a little bit from Jaycox, about 10 car lengths. Then the 5 of Shiree runs third, and a battle for fourth between Leonard and Palmer. Tough break for Larry Leonard, who pulled pit side in the number 92 machine. Halfway home, 5 in, 5 to go for Jim Paler. Kevin Jaycox Jr. runs second. Then the 5 of Kevin Shiree and the 21 of Matt Palmer. Into turn number 3, Paler kind of using the high entry, low exit in that number 64 machine. Continues to maintain the race lead over Kevin Jaycox Jr. Lead kind of stabilized, top 3 kind of stabilized as Shiree runs in the third spot. White flag for the 64 of Jim Paler. Checkered flag to the 64 of Paler. The 07 of Jaycox Jr. finishes in the second spot. The 5 of Kevin Shiree finishes third. And the 21 of Matt Palmer finishes fourth. As your field gets the 1 to go signal. The 36 of Hennis, the 7 of Schultz, the 81 of Fisher, the 77 of Lasecki, the 22 of Mid-Vid. Into turn number 3. Green flag is in the air. Hennis will lead into turn number 1. Schultz slides way up high, gives the second spot up to Fisher going down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Hennis your leader, Fisher runs second, Schultz in third, Mid-Vid fourth, Lasecki runs fifth. Hennis starting to inch away just a little bit, but here comes Schultz. Schultz to the inside of Fisher. He'll take over the second spot and set his sights on the 36 of Hennis. Schultz gets off of the corner down the back straightaway, starts to close in on the 36 of Hennis. Into turn number 3, Hennis still leads, but Schultz is right there, going to get the run. Oh, something broke on the 7 of Schultz. Tough break for charging Charlie Schultz in the number 7 machine, former Mid-Vale competitor here in the late model division, as he has problems in turns 3 and 4 while he was trying to run down the 36 of Hennis. So the 81 of Fisher will move back up into the second spot that he gave up. Fire in third, Lasecki in fourth. Green flag back in the air off of turn number 4. Hennis pushes up off the bottom just a little bit off turn number 4. Fisher able to close in just a little bit. Mike Mid-Vid unable to reel in the top 2 right now, as Hennis and Fisher have kind of checked out just a little bit, and Mid-Vid has fallen back into the clutches of A.J. Lasecki. Off turn number 4, white flag for the 36 of John Hennis. Off turn number 4, heat race number 2 to the 36 of John Hennis. Denny Fisher finishes in the second spot. The 22 of Mike McVetta finishes third. And the 77 of A.J. Lasecki finishes in the fourth spot. I believe that is the first heat race win for the 36 of Hennis here at Midvale Speedway. Again, he was the only winner so far in the Arctic Glass MSA Super Modified season, because they've only got one in due to all the weather and everything else. They got one in on June 21st up at Mansfield, and Hennis was the winner. And Charlie Schultz leads the points, but Schultz is going to take a little bit of a hit after that heat race. Hopefully he can get back together for the feature. The 21 is Colton Ritchie, Cardinal Asphalt, CRP Racing, Innovative Auto Sport, Shook Brothers Repair, and R.D. Brown Trucking on the 21. The 1 is Gary Hoopengartner. The 3 is your fastest qualifier, Kyle Grove. And the 34 is Chris Smith. Larry Smith will take the lead into turn number 3. Slides up the racetrack. Here comes last week's feature winner, Waylon Orr, on the bottom. Smith gets back to the bottom once again, but again pushes up off the corner, going to try and close the door off of turn number 2, and does close the door into turn number 3. Waylon Orr in second. Orr going to try and battle back. Smith protecting the bottom. Bob Passwaters Jr. runs into third spot. And here comes Smith closing the door again. Caution on the speedway. Restart green flag, 6 to go. Smith on the bottom or on the top. Smith was protecting the bottom earlier. He'll continue to stay a little bit low down the back straightaway, but he was pushing up off the corners, holding it down nicely now, but Waylon Orr going to lead at the line. Into turn number 1, Smith battles back, now gets loose, and will spin to the infield. Larry Smith spins as he keeps moving on the back straightaway. Waylon Orr now sideways off of turn number 4, and here comes Hoopengartner. Gary Hoopengartner, Magic Shoes to the outside off of turn number 2. Here comes Kyle Grove. Grove going to work to the outside of Orr now as Gary Hoopengartner will take over the race lead. Grove coming from the 5th restarting spot up to the 2nd spot now. Good second place battle between Grove and Orr. Passwaters Jr. in 4th, Ritchie in 5th, as Gary Hoopengartner leads in the Express Services sponsored number 1 machine. White flag for Gary Hoopengartner. Still side by side for second between Orr and Grove. Into turn number 3, looks like Hoopengartner is going to pick up the heat race win. Who's going to finish second? Orr's going to battle back to the bottom, but Grove's going to have the momentum on the top and finish second. Waylon Orr finishes third. Bob Passwaters Jr. in 4th, Colton Ritchie in 5th, and Larry Smith in 6th. Pulling to downtown Ford Victory Lane. From Perry, Ohio, the Express Services sponsored number 1 machine. Put your hands together for Magic Shoes, Gary Hoopengartner. Your field will come into turn number 4, or off of turn number 4. Green flag is in the air, and Passwater is going to take the race lead into turn number 1. He's going to pull TJ Barker along with him. Passwaters gets to the bottom of the racetrack. Bertram dropping like a rock in the 55 as the 77 of Moss sweeps around. Ambrose sweeps around in the 03 on the bottom. And now TJ Barker is going to sweep right around the 75 of Passwaters. Sweep seems to be the word of the day. The 55 of Bertram Poole's pit side, and the 11 of Barker is your race leader. Passwaters runs second, John Ambrose Jr. in third, the 77 of Josh Moss, and the 00 of Westman, your 5 machines remaining. Single file, all 5 machines nose to tail down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Barker, your race leader. Passwater Senior machine rolling way over on the right front. Barker's not going to give up the bottom, so if you're going to pass him, you're going to have to go to the high side. I'm not sure Passwaters has the machine to do it right now. Ambrose runs in the 3rd spot. Moss runs 4th, Westman in 5th. 5 down. TJ Barker really fighting to keep that car on the bottom of the racetrack. Car pushes right in the center of the corner and he just yanks it to the bottom, but he's keeping it there and keeping Passwaters behind him. Moss will now take over the 3rd spot around Ambrose. White flag in the air for TJ Barker. Off turn number 4, checkered flag for TJ Barker. Bob Passwater Sr. finishes 2nd. Josh Moss finishes in the 3rd spot. John Ambrose Jr. in 4th. Kelly Westman in 5th. Pulling into victory lane in heat race number 2, your JD Byrider Street Stocks. In the Canton Auto Sales, Red Dog Saloon, Country Mart. Canton Auto Salvage, BW Home Improvement, sponsored number 11. From Canton, South Ohio, put your hands together for T.J. Barker. Lighting signs and decals on the 59. The 72 is Derek Cordia. The 32 is Keith Anderson. The 23 tonight is Lee McCurry. The 118 is Colt Locker. The 4 is Preston Kelly. And the green flag is in the air for your mini truck division. And here comes Colt Locker. Locker 3 wide, not going to be able to hold it on the high side. Cordia is going to try and take over the race lead, but here comes Anderson. Anderson now maybe a little bit of contact. 4 wide. Locker sideways and into the wall. And he's going to keep it running. The 18 of Locker, I think, is in a dirt truck. Maybe he thinks he's running at Eldora in a couple weeks. I'm not sure, but Lee McCurry is out in front in the 23. Cordia runs 2nd. Anderson runs 3rd. And here comes the dirt truck of the 118 of Colt Locker in 4th. Wallach in the 59 runs 5th. And then the 4 of Kelly. The 4 of Kelly Poole's pit side, as the 118 of Colt Locker is going to pick up the 3rd spot. And now he's looking to take over the runner-up spot from Cordia and is not going to be able to hold on to it. Man, he is loose. Riding the cushion through turns 1 and 2. Anderson going to battle back to the inside. Good battle for 3rd between Anderson and Locker. Up on the cushion, the 118 comes off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Cordia still runs in the 2nd spot. Now Locker's going to clear Anderson, move up to 3rd, as Lee McCurry is your race leader. Here comes Locker. Gets a little bit of contact from Cordia, pushes him up high, not that he wasn't going to go up there anyways. Now here comes Locker with all that motor into turn number 3. Off of 4, Cordia is going to hold him at bay here. 6 laps complete. And now contact into turn number 1. Sideways is the 118. Not that he needed help getting sideways, but Why not? And now the 72 of Cordia is going to stop in turn number 2, bringing out the caution. And starting alongside is Colt Locker. The 32 is Anderson, the 59 is Wallach, and the 72 is Cordia. Green flag back in the air. McCreary going to take the race lead as he'll pull into turns 3 and 4 and see the white flag off of 4 from Chief Starter Terry Coletti. McCreary now smokes the left front into turns 1 and 2. Still going to maintain the race lead as Locker just doesn't seem to have anything for him. Anderson runs in second, Cordia in third, Wallach in fourth. And off of turn number 4, your race winner is going to be Lee McCreary. Colt Locker will finish second. Keith Anderson will finish third, Derek Cordia in fourth, and Matt Wallach rounding out your field. Pretty interesting heat race in your Finish Line Motors mini truck division. And the normal competitor in the Summit Racing Economy Modifieds normally drives that number 2 machine. Tonight he's substituting for Dusty Nicholas. In the M&D Design, sponsored number 23, put your hands together for New Philadelphia's Lee McCreary. Eight-lap heat race number 1 is green. Van Meter going to try and take the race lead away from Finlayson into turn number 1. Off turn 2, front 2 rows are side by side. Finlayson trying to battle back on the inside as Van Meter leads by about a half a car length off of turn number 4. And Van Meter will lead at the line. Van Meter now clears, has the bottom lane if he wants it, and now takes it. Finlayson in second. That opens up the top side for Gage Jayberg. Here comes Jayberg. Gage Jayberg to the high side of Britt Van Meter. Off turn number 4, Van Meter going to try and keep him up high, but not going to happen. Gage Jayberg, your new race leader, bringing Blaine Salisbury along with him. Jayberg now clears the 27 of Van Meter, and Salisbury going to take over the second spot. Salisbury came from the back to the front in the feature a week ago. Very impressive run for that Forrest Salisbury. As he slots in the second spot, Britt Van Meter runs third. Here comes Joe Oliver in the 50, your fastest qualifier, up to 4th. Finlayson back to 5th. Then Sweeney and McNutt. Three-wide battle back in the pack as Oliver takes over the third spot. And McNutt's going to move up into the 5th spot after that 3-wide battle with Finlayson and Sweeney. Jayberg, your race leader, looking for the white flag off of turn number 4. Jayberg and Salisbury, your front 2 machines. Spectator drags, you can head pit side. Spectator drags, you can head pit side. Off turn number 4, your winner, Gage Jayberg. Blaine Salisbury will finish second. Joe Oliver in third. Britt Van Meter in fourth. John McNutt in 5th. Then the 57 of Mike Sweeney, the 15 of Kyle Finlayson. And pulling into victory lane into Michael Taylor Allstate Insurance, C&K Auto Service, Route 39 Auto Salvage, Fox Auto Salvage, and part sponsor number 21 from New Philadelphia, Ohio. Put your hands together for Gage Jayberg. The 46 machine is Christian Bailey. The 16 is Mike McDonald. The 169 is Alan Clark. The 95 is Lisa Moore. And the 24 is Brent Schreffler. Green flag off of turn number 4. And here comes Schreffler. Schreffler from the back to the front.
Yes. Caution. Caution.
And caution. Is green. Schreffler going to try that 3-wide move again. France in the middle, Koger on the bottom. Koger is going to take the lead into turn number 3, but here comes Schreffler. Schreffler to the high side. Here comes Christian Bailey for the 3rd spot on Brandon France. Schreffler is going to take the race lead on the high side and drop to the bottom. Koger and Bailey side by side for 2nd, then Clark and France, Lisa Moore, and the 16 of McDonald. Christian Bailey up to the 2nd spot now. Clark up to 3rd. And Koger starts to fall back a little bit. Here comes the 95 of Lisa Moore up to the 4th spot, putting Koger back to 5th. Brent Schreffler, your race leader, with 3 laps complete. Schreffler, your race leader. Bailey and Clark, 2nd and 3rd. Lisa Moore in 4th. Good battle for 5th between McDonald, Koger, and France. Brent Schreffler had lots of issues to start the year. I think he's on like his 5th motor in this 24 machine. They call him the Fireball. White flag to the 24 of Brent Schreffler. Alan Clark up to the 2nd spot. Lisa Moore going to take over the 3rd spot from Christian Bailey. McDonald runs in the 5th spot, then France in the 38 and the 7 of Koger. Off turn number 4, Brent Schreffler. Heat race number 2 winner. Alan Clark finishes 2nd, Lisa Moore in 3rd, Christian Bailey in 4th, Mike McDonald in 5th, Brandon France 6th, and Zach Koger running out heat race number 2 of your Canton Auto Salvage Compacts. Like we said earlier, this guy's had all kinds of problems this year. Gotta feel good to be back in victory lane. In the G&M Fabrications, Finlayson Towing, Amsoil, Pringles Auto Bodied, sponsor number 24 from New Philadelphia, Ohio. Put your hands together for Brent Schreffler. Garrett Durbin in the 56 starts alongside Laney Stresky in the 17, inside row number 3. Dakota Hunter in the number 6. Dakota Hunter from Massillon, Ohio in the number 6 machine moves up to the 3rd spot. Hunter Corbett and the 32 of Bruce Gibson still on the speedway. So your race leader, the 42 of Stephen McHugh. McHugh, your race leader in the 42, way up the racetrack, going to open the bottom for Dakota Hunter. Here comes Hunter in turn number 3. Hunter going to take over the race lead. Dakota Hunter, your race leader in the number 6, the 42 machine of McHugh runs 2nd, then the 01 of Hunter Corbett. The 56 of Garrett Durbin runs 4th. Laney Stresky, still with some engine problems in that 17 machine, runs 5th. The 6 of Dakota Hunter has went
Caution.
under his qualifying time, so the 6 will be black flagged for going under his qualifying time.
Flag going under your time.
Looking for the restart. 3 laps in, green is in the air. And McHugh doesn't get a good restart. Here comes Durbin and Corbett. They're going to sandwich him. Big time sandwich in turn number 1. And Durbin's going to come out with the race lead. Garrett, Durbin, your race leader. And now all kinds of contact off of turn number 4. I think McHugh was giving a little payback there
Caution's out.
to the 56 of Durbin, and both of them get into the wall off of turn number 4. We're getting ready for our spectator drags. Didn't know we were going to have one, especially a 5-lap spectator drag
We got 3
in our compact division, but heat race number 3 is going to be that, and the green is out. Corbett will take the lead into turn number 1 and down the back straightaway. Laney Stresky just with all kinds of issues in that 17, just not able to get the power down. 17 is missing badly on the straightaway. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go. So Hunter Corbett, your race leader, with 2 to go at the line. Laney Stresky in second. White flag for the 01 of Hunter Corbett. Checkered flag for Hunter Corbett. And Laney Stresky finishes in the second spot. Pulling to the line in the Snyder Home Improvement sponsored number 01 from Denison, Ohio. Heat race number 3, winner of your Canton Auto Salvage Compact Division. Put your hands together for Hunter Corbett.
What do you guys think? Green is out, and Martin is going to lead down the back straightaway. Big time. I'm not sure, what is that? Mike what? Yeah. I don't know. The center flight's going to go very far. I don't know how many times he comes here and rings this spectator drag thing, though. That's not a good picture. And Ryan Trepler in the 2004 Hyundai Supra. Trepler is Hyundai. Hyundai. Trepler and Shields. Green is out. Shields gets the jump. And Trepler is going to get the run into turn number 1 on the outside. A little close. Not really. Trepler is going to lead down the back straightaway. And Trepler will come off from turn number 4 and pick up Ryan Trepler. Dan Herron in the 2006 Pontiac GTO. And the 95 Thunderbird of William Yoder. So William Yoder in the Thunderbird on the high side. And Herron is in the 2006 GTO on the bottom. Ready to go. 2009 Civic on the high side of Anthony McClintock. And who do we got in the Chevy? Matthew. John Jones in the Impala. Looks like an 07 Impala because that's what I had. So I'm going to guess it's an 07. A what? 08. Okay. 08 Impala. Close enough. So Jones on the bottom and McClintock on the top. McClintock kind of got a little bit of a jump, but almost stole it. Good battle. Off with turn number 2. Jones on the bottom, McClintock on the high side. McClintock going to take the race lead. Into turn number 3, going to drop to the bottom, and that's just going to make Japan beat America, and that's Spain. McClintock, the winner in the World Cup. Not that very many people watch soccer here, but need to get some pictures. They are down there. And I have no idea who's on the sheet because, we got Brandon Brown on the Sunfire. Hey, go see who's in the money. No clue as to who's in the money. Sounds like it's fast, though. Josh Housley in the Monte Carlo. Housley in the Monte Carlo. And Brown in the Sunfire. Housley on the bottom, Brown on the top. Into turn number 3. Brown gonna try it on the outside. He's digging. And he's got it. What? So I don't know who they are. We will find out. We got a Honda CRV and a Honda Civic. We need to know who the drivers are, not you. Okay, Austin. Okay, I got him on the list. Who's in the CRV? John Wissman in the CRV. Green is down. Wissman on a really good start. Up in. Up into turn number 1. Wow. Wissman kind of pulls it in a little bit. Should be interesting. Down into turn number 3. Wissman on the high side. He's digging. Off turn number 4. There comes Martin. He wanted that low end. We're going to handicap Martin and put him on the outside. You got to be handicapped, man. James Hester in the S10. Hester's ready. Hester's tires down. And Martin storming his way to victory lane. So the Subaru. That car races. It's for that tire. I think it's a here. And takes the victory. How is kids treating these days? Jeez. All right. Hey, who's in the Chevy? We got Schreckler in the Honda. Hey, who's in the Chevy, man? I don't think I got any marked down. Brady Belknap on the inside. Ryan Schreckler on the outside. Green. Schreckler going to take the lead. Belknap is going to, he might well decide to go with that. Schreckler going to probably put it in reverse from here and then. He's going to keep going anyway. got Aaron over the window. Certainly was hear what I'm saying about that race driver earlier. He's going to cruise to victory. Dan Aaron into the next round. Brandon Brown in the 99 Sunfire. And Josh Huff in the 2004 Civic. Huff on the inside. Brown on the outside. Okay, this should be a good one. Who you guys got? You got Martin on the high side? You got Schrecker on the bottom. Man, kind of split. I'm going with the ringer. Three. It's tough. Jared Martin. Is going to cruise to victory. Unless he screws up major, which I don't see that happening. Off there with the third Jared Martin. Where's the Red Bull ladies at? How do you guys get the rookie Red Bull with an old wily veteran doesn't get nothing? Yeah, I'll tell you what. Okay, up on the bottom. And Aaron on the top. Aaron, powerful beat. Is that 29 PCO? And give Mark a little run for a 20. What do you think? Could be a good one. Off turn number 14, Aaron. This should be a good one. Who wants the outside? Who wants the inside? Okay, Mark's going to take the outside. And Dan Aaron, the inside. Okay, who you got? You got Jared Martin on the outside? Who's got him? Who's got Dan Aaron on the inside? Uh-oh. Looking for the lead. Moving into downtown 450 remaining in your spectator drag in the 2006 Pontiac GTO. Put your hands together for Dan Aaron. You're so proud. Man, step on out here. You got to get your trophy. You got to get interviewed and everything. You could have had the arrow on this thing. Does this thing got air? It overheats when you turn the arrow.
I lost a flip-flop coming out of two. I lost it right there.
You lost a flip-flop. Man, you're driving with flip-flops on. Are you kidding me?
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do.
Win's a win, right?
Every time.
Man, I think that is the first time the ringer, Jared Martin's been beaten in a Subaru.
I had to do it. Didn't even have to use my nitrous.
You didn't have to use it. You got nitrous in this thing too?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Well, tell me about this Pontiac.
Got a lot of money in suspension. That's about it. Been in stock other than that.
Anybody you want to thank?
Thank my girlfriend for letting me come tonight.
And she's thankful you didn't beat it up.
Yeah, probably.
Well, go have a cold one and enjoy the rest of the night racing.
All right, thanks.
Congratulations. Put your hands together for spectator drag winner, Dan Harris. Mini truck feature will be up shortly.
And see Craig Mishler. Pick up your DVDs for $10 from last week's racing action. Maybe you want to pre-order tonight's racing action. Stop up and see Craig. Also would like to wish Craig and Crystal a happy anniversary this weekend. Happy anniversary, Craig and Crystal Mishler. 35 years. They've been married almost as long as I've been alive. Lee McCurry from New Philadelphia, Ohio, subbing for Dusty Nicholas tonight in the M&D Design, sponsor number 23. The 118 is Colt Locker from Summerdale, Ohio, in the Locker Racing Townhouse, sponsored number 118.
118, you need to keep that truck under.
The 132 truck is Billy Nicholas from Yorksville, Ohio, M&D Designs on the 132.
At the end.
The 4 is Preston Kelly from Strasburg, Ohio, Willendale Golf Cart Sales, Flipside Grill, the sponsors on the 4. And the 59 is Matt Wallach from New Philadelphia, Ohio, Performance Towing, Gales Recycling, and Lightning Signs and Decals. Green flag is in the air. Anderson, Cordia, and here comes McCurry. Now 3 wide, here comes Locker. McCurry on the bottom, Anderson in the middle. Colt Locker to the top side. Cordia slips back to the 4 spot. Here comes Locker. Looks like he's got his truck a little bit more hooked up, maybe not. McCurry going to lead lap number 1, Anderson in second. And now the 118 of Locker dives to the bottom in front of the 32 of Anderson. Move Locker up to second. Anderson third, Cordia fourth. Here comes Wallach in the 59. Was a little bit late getting out, but he's going to move up to the 5th spot. Around Billy Nicholas and the 4 of Preston Kelly. Locker sideways off of turn number 4, trying to run down Lee McCurry. McCurry, your race leader in the 23, moving up on lap traffic. Locker has closed in. Colt Locker closing in now. McCurry tiptoeing through traffic as he gets around Kelly, now gets around Nicholas on the back straightaway. Both machines through the lap traffic, doing a good job. First time out in the truck tonight. McCurry doing a good job in the 23, filling in for Dusty Nicholas. Colt Locker trying to run him down. Now problems for Billy Nicholas in turn number 1. Caution on the speedway. Billy Nicholas up in smoke in turn number 1. McCurry into turn number 1. Locker tries to battle on the high side. Definitely a much better handling truck in the feature than he had in the heat race. But does he have anything for the 23 of McCurry? Gives him a little bump in turn number 4. McCurry protects the bottom. Locker tries to close in down the back straightaway into turn number 2. Gets right up to that back bumper. More contact. McCurry sideways. Gonna hang on to it. Cordia runs in the 3rd spot. Wallach up to 4th. Anderson back to 5th. McCurry, your race leader. Locker is able to get to the bumper, able to give him a little bit of the chrome horn, but unable to get around him. McCurry doing a nice job with 2 to go. McCurry now sideways all by himself in turn number 1. The 32 of Keith Anderson drops back to let the 23 of McCurry up alongside the 59 of Wallach. Anderson having some engine issues still with that 32 truck. They'll look for the green flag. Green, white, checkered. Off of turn number 4. Green's in the air. Locker's going to get the good run into turn number 1. McCurry thought about 3 wide, then didn't do it. Here comes Cordia trying to get to the bottom of Locker. Not going to make it work. McCurry to the high side of Cordia. McCurry not able to get around the 72 truck on the high side. Cordia slips off turn 4. White flag is in the air. Locker, one more circuit. Here comes McCreary. Got a lot of laps on this racetrack. Behind the wheel of that 23 truck. Can he pull some magic? In turn number 3. Closes in, but gonna run out of time. Race winner, Colt Locker.
118.
Good second place run. Locker's going to shut it off, not even going to take a victory lap. Sitting in victory lane in the townhouse drive-through and general store, Locker Racing, sponsor number 118. Getting the belts undone, first time in victory lane and feature action. Put your hands together for Colt Locker! Man, good job, buddy. I'll tell you what, your dad got this thing in victory lane, and now you did. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Man, it was a good run. What'd you think when you seen Lee just get loose and won? I think he was trying to get in hard because he knew you were right there.
Yeah, I think he knew I was right on him and a little bit of pressure and just got him loose. So.
Hey, and I'll tell you what, this truck was loose. You were up on the cushion. I was almost going to call you the high side tickler, the high side hammer, something. I thought you were on a dirt track.
Yeah, it started out loose and actually tightened up now that the track cooled off. And yeah, it's actually handling a lot better than it was earlier in that heat race.
Yeah, it seemed a lot better in the feature. And how's it feel to be in victory lane, man?
Feels pretty good. Even though I missed qualifying, I've had some ignition problems, but other than that, it turned out pretty well.
What do you want to thank, man?
I want to thank all my friends and family in Turn 4 and Townhouse Drive-Thru and Bolivar Performance and my dad, especially for helping me set the truck up.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Put your hands together. First time feature winner, Colt Locker.
Oh, yeah, see?
Kevin's the pole, Taylor's outside pole. I'm stuck behind Kevin.
Stand up and wave off your super modified drivers.
Okay, guys.
The annual visit for the Arctic Glass MSA Super Modifieds. 30-lap feature getting ready to go green in just over a lap.
Side by side, the call for green.
Kevin J. Cox Jr. starts on the pole. Heat race number 1 winner, Jim Paler, starts on the outside of the front row. Heat race number 2 winner, the only feature winner this season so far in MSA Super Modified competition, John Hennis, starts inside of row number 2 with the 81 of Denny Fisher. Your field in turn number 3. Green flag for your MSA Super Modified feature. Jim Paler will take the race lead over Kevin J. Cox Jr. and Fisher up to 3rd. Here comes the 77 of Lasecki. Lasecki to the inside of Hennis, looking for that 4th spot. Move Lasecki to 4th, Hennis back to 5th. Now McVetta takes a look under the 36. Lasecki up to the 4th spot as Jim Paler starts to pull away. Kevin J. Cox Jr. runs second. Denny Fisher in third. Now, Hennis slides up the racetrack. That's going to open up the bottom for Schultz, but Hennis closes the door. McVetta got passed by Schultz about a lap and a half ago. Now battle for the 3rd spot. Here comes Lasecki. Got around Fisher. Move A.J. Lasecki to the 3rd spot. Now problems. Yellow in turn number 2. Tough break for the 81 of Denny Fisher in turns 1 and 2. Might have gotten a little bit into the back of the 77 of Lasecki. As he is actually sitting back up in turn number 3 up against the wall. See if he gets restarted as the 81 of Denny Fisher gets towed pit side. Tough break for Denny Fisher in the number 81 machine as he was currently sitting second in Arctic Glass MSA Super Modified points. He's going to take a little bit of a hit here in night number 2. Field makes its way down the back straightaway. Paler, J. Cox, and Lasecki into turn number 3. Green flag back in the air. 26 to go. Caution on the speedway. Caution on the speedway for the number 5 of Kevin Shiree, just as the 77 of A.J. Lasecki dropped to the inside and was going to clear the 07 of Kevin J. Cox Jr. for the 2nd spot. Shiree spins in turn number 4. Kevin J. Cox Jr., A.J. Lasecki, the front 3, off of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air as Lasecki looks to the bottom of J. Cox again. J. Cox gets a little bit better of a restart. Lasecki to the bottom. A.J. Lasecki going to take over the 2nd spot off of turn number 4. The 77 now runs 2nd. Move J. Cox back to 3rd. Now caution in turn number 1. Big wreck in turn number 1. Larry Leonard in that number 92 machine just locked up the tires trying to miss the Charlie Schultz and John Hennis accident. Hearing that Larry Leonard is okay, trying to get out of the machine, still not out, so we'll wait until he gets out.
There you go.
Back him up. All they're going to do is flip it. Look at him. Pull him up a little bit. Pull up, John. Pull up, John. You got to pull up. Okay. Good. Yeah, everybody, watch your speed. Watch your speed. There it goes.
We should be able to pick it up with the front here and drag it out of here.
For your Adkins Glass MSA Super Modifieds, Jim Paler, your race leader. The 77 of A.J. Lasecki runs in the second spot. Then the 07 of Kevin J. Cox Jr. and the 5 of Kevin Shirey. Field in turn number 3. Green flag back in the air. Charlie Schultz up into the 4th spot, gets around Shirey. McVetta trying to get around Hennis, as Hennis will get around Shirey and use him as a pick. And the 22 of McVetta slides back into the 7th position. Good battle up front as Lasecki has caught Paler. Paler, your race leader. Lasecki runs second. Charlie Schultz in third. John Hennis in fourth. And Kevin J. Cox Jr. in fifth. 8 laps down and 22 to go. Getting ready to go green. Jim Paler, A.J. Lasecki. Green flag back out. Schultz in third. Hennis fourth, Jaycox fifth, McVetta sixth. 22 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. McVetta moves up to the 5th spot behind Hennis, Schultz, Lasecki, and your race leader, Jim Paler. Here comes Mike McVetta to the inside of John Hennis off of turn number 4. McVetta up to the 4th spot. Hennis back to 5th as the 64 of Jim Paler continues to put distance between him and AJ Lasecki in the 2nd spot. Charlie Schultz right there in the 3rd spot, and McVetta coming, about to make it a 3-way battle for 2nd spot behind Paler. Halfway home, 15 in, 15 to go. And there goes Mike McVetta off of the speedway. Tough break for the 22 of Mike McVetta. Your fastest qualifier. Now Jaycox pulls pit side. Kevin Jaycox Jr. pulls pit side at lap number 16. We're left with the 4 machines on the racetrack. Paler, your race leader. Lasecki runs 2nd, Schultz in 3rd, and Hennis in 4th. AJ Lasecki trying to hang on to that 2nd spot, pushing up off the corner. Charlie Schultz trying to get a run underneath him, coming down the straightaway, just hasn't been able to quite get it done. Paler continues to pull away as Lasecki continues to see the handling go away on that 77. Charging Charlie Schultz moves up into the 2nd spot. Lasecki just going away on that 77 machine. As Schultz moves up into the 2nd spot, but he's going to run out of time with only 5 to go unless we get another caution as Hennis tries to get around Lasecki now. Hennis way up the racetrack. He got around Lasecki and then just got it in too hard, slid way up the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, and he will fall back to the 3rd spot, or the 4th spot rather, once again, as Jim Paler continues to lead with a lap and a half to go. Off turn number 4, white flag for the 64 of Paler. Here is Hennis trying to get around Lasecki for 3rd again. Charlie Schultz runs 2nd. Hennis going to take a look to the inside, and he's going to get it done this time as Jim Paler comes across the line to pick up the feature victory. And Hennis will finish in the 3rd spot.
Checkered flag, guys. Checkered flag. Good job, Jim.
AJ Lasecki finishes
The 7 and the 37.
4th. Your runner-up was the 7 of Charlie Schultz, and your winner, Jim Paler, in the 64. Once we got that red flag condition finished up, pretty good feature by these Adkins Glass MSA Super Modifieds. Jim Paler pulls into victory lane. Precision Welding Corporation, Henry Tools, ITS Industrial Tube and Steel Corporation, Cowboys Big Rig Chrome Shop, sponsors on this 64 as he's climbing out. Put your hands together for your MSA Super Modified feature winner, Jim Paler. How about a big round of applause for your second place finisher, Charging Charlie Schultz. And your third place finisher, the final spot on the podium, the number 36 of John Hennis. I was trying to wait till he climbed out. Man, what a good run.
Oh, we got lucky. The car, we was a mess all day. And we threw the kitchen sink at it there before we came out for the feature, and it worked. It's still tighter than heck, but it worked out all right.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you know this, but I'm pulling you around here so that the camera can see you up there. You can wave and smile if you want to. But I'll tell you what, Jim, this car just pretty much set sail once we got back under green flag running. Really, I thought AJ was going to have something for you, but it seemed like his car really fell off. And then I think Charlie might have had something for you, but he was almost over a full straightaway behind. It seemed like he was hooked up at the right time.
Yeah, we was all right. Took a couple laps to get the car coming back in, and it was good. It was tight, and we just kept dealing with it and trying to ride the brakes a little differently and hit the corners a little bit, and we got lucky and it worked. Thank you, Charlie.
What as Charlie Schultz comes over and congratulates you, and John Hennis as well. How was the track conditions once you ended up getting going? I know at first everybody kind of gave the thumbs down, but then that was a lot of mess up there in turn number one.
Well, it was we just needed like them last couple of green laps we did. That was perfect. After that, it was all right. I mean, obviously you don't get out first groove over there, but
and that's kind of what you wanted, though.
That's what I was wanting, because then they couldn't pass me on the outside.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Who you want to thank on this machine tonight?
I got to thank Precision Welding, Henry Tools, Total Appliance, Steve Manka, Design, Premier Trucking, Steel Plate, Mile of Wall Off-Road, Adam, Dennis, Randy's not here tonight, Tommy, my wife for putting up with me in the garage, and these three kids right here. Everybody, and an organization and everything. Atkins Glass for helping us out, and it all takes a team effort.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Put your hands together again for your Adkins Glass MSA Super Modified feature winner, Jim Paler. I'm going to try and walk over and catch a word with Charlie. What's up, Charlie? Man, I just ran out of time. Once you finally got around AJ, I thought you were going to run him down, but you needed that caution.
Yeah, I wish we had one of those late race cautions that we sometimes get, but congrats to Jimmy Paler. I can't thank my guys enough. We broke a spindle adjuster earlier in the day. We molded it back together, got a couple practice laps. We really know what we had, and John and I love him to death, and we really wanted to kind of hug going into one there, and didn't end up good for either one of us. And man, I can't thank David and Lori for giving me the opportunity to race this car, the whole Maine Motorsports crew. I want to thank John, Garrett, Cody for getting that fixed underneath red or under the yellow after we pitted. I want to thank all you fans for coming out and supporting us, and hopefully we'll see you guys back here again next year.
Congratulations on a good second place run.
Thank you.
Congratulations, second place finisher, Charging Charlie Schultz. See if we can come around here and get a quick word with third place finisher, John Hennis. John, come on over here. You won the first feature of the season. The second one, you pick up a good third place run. I think that heat race tonight was your first win here.
Probably because normally I take it off on a flatbed or on a wrecker. Not a bad night. I mean, for us here, rolling it in the trailer half straight is good. Raced our butts off. I don't know. Charlie was faster than we were, and Paler was quicker than us. But when we got in that little scuffle with Charlie, we actually pitted to fix some stuff, and we made the car better because before that we were junk. We were really loose, and if we wouldn't have made the adjustments, we'd have never came through at all. We'd have finished wherever we started on the restart, and whoever fell out or whatnot. I want to thank all the fans for coming out. I'm really sorry that we only had 10 cars, but I hope that we put on a good enough show that you'll come back and see us again. I'm begging you. I mean, I'm not getting on my knees because I'm old and they hurt, but please come back. Please support us. Thanks again.
All right, that is your third place finisher. How about a big round of applause for John Hennis? How about a big round of applause for all of our Adkins Glass MSA Super Modified competitors? These things are a handful to drive. You guys could see that. 4 of Matthew Mills in row number 4. 30-lap McIntosh Oil Company late model feature is green. Mike Miller will take the race lead down into turn number 1. He'll pull Jonathan Ritter in the 28 with him as the 6 of Larry Baker falls back. Here comes the 12 of Bubba Smith and the 1 of Bryant Smith. On the inside lane is the 6 of Baker and the 32 of Galt Jr. slide back in the outside lane. Lap number 1 to the 53 of Mike Miller. The 17 of Bob Snyder Jr. moves up into the 5th spot around Larry Baker in the number 6, moving Baker in the 6th back to 6th. Galt Jr. back to 7th. Caution on the speedway for debris in turn number 2. Field in turn number 3. Mike Miller, Jonathan Ritter. Green flag back out. 2 down, 28 to go. Ritter gets a good restart. He'll battle to the outside. He'll pull ahead into turn number 3. Will have to stay in the high lane. Miller tries to battle back to the inside. Jonathan Ritter going to clear Mike Miller. He's got the bottom if he wants it. He'll take it. Jonathan Ritter leads. Miller runs second. Battle for the Smith boys for the 3rd spot. Bubba on the inside. Bryant on the outside. Bob Snyder Jr. runs in the 5th spot. Then Glenn Galt Jr. Larry Baker, and caution for the 47 of McCallicker and the 31 of Early in turn number 3. And Matthew Mills in row number 4. Ritter and Miller will bring the field into turn number 3. 3 laps in, 27 to go. Late model feature is green. Ritter will lead down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Is Hoopengarner will spin in turn number 1. And the 53 of Mike Miller will bring the field into turn number 4. Green is back in the air. Ritter gets a good restart. He'll lead into turn number 1. Miller on the outside, the brothers Smith side by side in row number 2. Larry Baker and the 17 of Snyder battle for that 5th spot. Baker now has it. He's trying to bring Matthew Mills up with him around the 17 of Snyder for 6th. Here comes Smith to the inside of Miller. Miller and Smith side by side for the 2nd spot behind Ritter. Bubba Smith will clear the 53 of Mike Miller and take over the 2nd spot. He'll set his sights on the 28 of Jonathan Ritter, your early race leader, as the 47 of McCallicker spins into the infield. He's going to try and get his machine going. Here comes the 1 of Bryant Smith. Bryant Smith looks to try to get around the 53 of Miller. Baker runs in the 5th spot. Bob Snyder Jr. runs 6th. Glenn Galt Jr. 7th. Now Matthew Mills all out of shape and gets into the wall of turn number 2. But caution for the 45 of Gary Hoopengarner. Smith, Miller, and Smith, Baker, and Snyder. See what happens off of turn number 4. Who's going to get the better restart? Green flag is in the air. Ritter with a good one. Ritter with a good restart, but I don't know that he's going to be able to hold off the 12 of Smith. Your fastest qualifier on the outside of Jonathan Ritter. Ritter holding strong in the bottom lane, but Smith leads at the line. Bubba Smith not quite able to clear. Will off of turn number 2. New race leader, Bubba Smith. Ritter back to second. Bryant Smith now trying to work over the 53 of Miller for third. Move Bryant Smith to third, Miller to fourth, Baker to fifth. Caution for the 17 of Bob Snyder Jr. in turns 1 and 2. Smith on the inside, Jonathan Ritter on the outside, just flip-flop from a couple laps ago. Bryant Smith, Mike Miller in row 2, Baker and Galt Jr. row 3, Green back in the air with 21 to go. Smith gets a good start on the bottom, Ritter with another good start on the top side. He seems to be hooked up upstairs. Glenn Galt Jr. with some problems down the back straightaway as he slips back, and Bubba Smith will clear Ritter. Ritter will try to get to the low side. He'll close the door on the one of Bryant Smith, and Ritter will maintain the second spot. Bryant Smith in third, Mike Miller in fourth, and Larry Baker in fifth. Ritter caught in a Smith Brothers sandwich on lap number 11. The 21 of Rick Sibla trying to work his way around the 4 of Matthew Mills for the 6th spot, was unable to do so. Now Mike Martin is going to move around the 21 of Sibla. So Mills up to 6th, Martin to 7th, Sibla back to 8th, Snyder 9th, and Johnny Hughes in 10th. Bubba Smith, your race leader, over Jonathan Ritter and Bryant Smith. Mike Miller runs 4th, Larry Baker in 5th. Bubba Smith not really pulling away, but maintaining about a 3-4 car length lead over Jonathan Ritter. Ritter holds about a 3-4 car length lead over the one of Bryant Smith for the 2nd spot. The 31 of Tom Early pulls pit side on lap number 17. Field starting to get strung out and settled down just a little bit now, as Bubba Smith just continues to maintain that 5-6 car length lead over Jonathan Ritter. Ritter seems to be pulling away from Bryant Smith, and Bryant Smith falling back into the clutches of the 53 of Miller, the 6 of Baker, and the 4 of Mills. Matthew Mills running a nice race, had his problems in the CRA race at Anderson Speedway last night, was unable to take the green flag, but is having a good night tonight. He picked up a heat race win and is now looking for a top 5 in feature action. Give a call to Mike Martin in that number 5 car after heavily damaging that car on opening night in practice. Didn't even get to take a green flag till tonight. Doing a nice job sitting there in the 7th spot in that number 5. Rick Sibla, part-time competitor in our late model division, runs in the 8th spot. Then Bob Snyder Jr. and Johnny Hughes round out your top 10. 7 laps to go for Bubba Smith, Jonathan Ritter, and Bryant Smith. Caution in turn number 4 for the 03 of Johnny Hughes, the 21 of Rick Sibla, and the 17 of Bob Snyder Jr. into turn number 3. Bubba Smith, Jonathan Ritter. Green flag back in the air with 6 to go in your late model feature. Ritter tries to battle but just doesn't make it work. And caution on the back straightaway. Ritter. Now we're going to have another restart. Smith, Ritter off of turn number 4. We're green. Here comes Matthew Mills with a good restart. He's going to move up into 5th, looking for 4th to the outside of Miller as Ritter battles Smith for the race lead. Bubba Smith going to pull ahead on the bottom with 5 to go at the line. Ritter will fall in behind on the bottom lane. Bryant Smith will run in 3rd. Miller in 4th. Mills up to the 5th spot. 6th is Baker. 7th is Martin. 8th is Sibla. 9th is Hughes. And 10th is Snyder Jr. Bubba Smith continues to lead Jonathan Ritter. Bubba Smith going to see the white flag off of turn number 4. White flag for Bubba Smith. Jonathan Ritter, Bryant Smith, Mike Miller, and Matthew Mills, your top 5. Down into turn number 3. Final time. Your winner is going to be Bubba Smith. Jonathan Ritter finishes 2nd. Bryant Smith in 3rd. Mike Miller 4th. Matthew Mills in 5th, Larry Baker 6th, Mike Martin in 7th. Brian Smith will finish the sandwich of Ritter and pick up the 3rd place finish. Is the Polish victory lap for the 12 of Bubba Smith, who is your points leader, been on a roll this season in that number 12 machine. Didn't quite have the car that maybe Bryant and some other guys had last season, but they did their homework on that number 12 this year, and that number 12 machine is bad fast. Picked up the season championship victory to end the year last year and has been on a tear ever since. One opening night, actually won Fall Classic, one of the features, so picked up 3 in a row dating back to last year and the beginning of this year. Bubba Smith, one of the cleanest race car drivers you'll find here at Midvale Speedway. A lot of drivers. I've never heard anybody really complain about Bubba Smith. One of the cleanest guys. Smith's Auto Sales, Freedom Auto Finance, Finish Line Motors, Finish Line Design sponsor number 12. Here's your feature winner, Bubba Smith. Bubba getting a cool drink of water on this hot July evening. Man, you're sweating all over the place, dude. You look like you just hopped out of the bathtub.
It's tough for a big guy, man. I got to thank all the fans for toughing it out tonight. It's a pretty warm night. You could be sitting at home in the air conditioning, but you guys come down here to watch some racing. I hope you like the show. Hope you come back, bring some friends, family next time. Got to thank my crew, especially the guys that got Brian's car back together after the heat race incident. He ripped the whole right front off. We had to replace everything, and for him to make it back out and finish 3rd, it's just a good team win tonight.
Man, talk about the run. You know, you and Ritter. And figured it'd happen. You and Ritter had a good battle. You guys are good friends, but you know what? This thing was just hooked up on the restarts. He battled you pretty hard there, and you never really pulled away from him much. You guys actually started to pull away from Bryant, who fell back into the clutches of Miller. But this thing's just been hooked up this year. I just talked about last year, middle of the season. You just didn't have the car under you that you wanted. But then at the end of the year, really started to come on, and you're about to get a cold bath. And I'll quit being winded, but I'm telling you, you've been on a roll this year ever since the last 2 weeks of last season.
Yeah, we've been working on this thing. We got the new rear suspension and clipped the beginning of last year, and we've been working on it. We got it kind of figured out there at the end of the year, and we just carried it on to this year, and it's been going real good. I can't complain at all.
I think your brother is just going to get a picture by the car and say that he won. What do you think about that?
Hey, you won last week. It was my turn.
Congratulations, man. Who else you want to thank on this 12 tonight?
I got to thank my mom and dad. I got to thank my wife for letting me do this. I got to thank definitely Tommy, Mike. Them guys busted their butt all night getting Brian's car ready. So, you know, we're just a big family. We do it for fun, and that's what it's all about.
Congratulations. Your feature winner in your Macintosh Oil Company late models. Put your hands together once again, Bubba Smith.
You guys got a lot of work to do after that heat race.
Yeah, it might not look that bad, but we had to replace everything on the way front of that car. I mean, everything is messed up.
I'm sure that feels so good though.
Yeah. But yeah, the car, I mean, it was pretty good. We talked about putting new tires on and figured, oh, I won't go nowhere, let's put old tires on. Honestly, I think if we put new tires on, I think I'd be over the front and cover could have won. We were running side by side, he barely beat me to the line, but he got the lucky draw, I guess.
Yeah, and with those older tires, Ritter kind of pulled away from you a little bit. You know, Bubba and Jonathan kind of separated themselves. Pretty good run by that 28. I know you guys are good friends.
Yeah, Ritter's a good player, guy. He's kind of goofy, but I like him. But my car was starting to go down in power at the end there. I had a battery die last year, so that's me. I kind of think the same thing happened. That last run, man, I just flat hooked in the middle of the corner.
Congratulations, man. Good third place run.
Thank you.
And the number 1 of Gary Hoopengarner. The 3 of fastest qualifier Kyle Grove, the 55 of Kyler Bertram, the 03 of John Ambrose Jr., the 75 of Bob Passwater Sr., the 34 of Chris Smith. Green flag 20 lap JD Byrider Street Stock feature. The 11 of Barker will get the early race lead, but the 34 of Chris Smith spins on the front straightaway, bringing out the caution. So complete restart on the field. The 11 of Barker, the 00 of Wisman, the 77 of Moss, the 28 of Orr, the 44 of Smith, the 74 of Passwaters Jr. 20 lap street stock feature is green. Side by side into turn number 1. Barker going to slide up just a little bit. Wisman going to drop back. TJ Barker by himself in the front. Wisman going to try and get to the bottom, but Josh Moss is going to fill that spot. 3 wide in turn number 4. Not going to work. Waylon Orr, the non-benefactor of that 3 wide battle, as he's going to slide way back, and now caution on the front straightaway. Contact between the 03 of Ambrose and the 1 of Hoopengarner. Ritchie and the 28 of Orr. Now the 11 of Barker pulls to the infield. Not sure what happened in turns 3 and 4. To your front 2 rows, then the 21 of Ritchie and the 28 of Orr, the 74 of Passwaters Jr., the 3 of Grove, as they'll look for the restart green flag with 19 laps to go. Work back green. Moss gets a good restart. Tries to dive to the bottom. Barker's still there. Moss slides back up in the center of the corner. Barker is going to lead by about a half a car length into turn number 3. Wisman still there. Smith on the outside. Wisman in third. Now problems for Moss as he slides way up the racetrack. 3 wide on the front straightaway. Larry Smith will get through the middle and take over the second spot. Now 3 wide down the back straightaway. Ritchie on the inside. Orr and Moss. Here comes Grove threading the needle up the middle. Orr made it work. Grove made it work and moved Josh Moss all the way back to about the 7th or 8th position. TJ Barker, your race leader. Larry Smith in second. Now here comes Waylon Orr for third on Kelly Wisman, bringing Kyle Grove with him. Three wide into turn number 3. Little bit of contact between the 28 of Orr and the 3 of Grove. The 28 slides up, the 3 continues on. Move Kyle Grove up into the 5th spot. Problems for Waylon Orr as he has dropped to the rear of the field. Grove and Ritchie side by side for the 4th spot as Larry Smith trying to hunt down TJ Barker for the race lead. Caution on the back straightaway. TJ Barker spins off of turn number 2. Possibly a little contact from the 44 of Smith. Field in turn number 3. 14 laps to go. Green flag is back in the air. Barker and Wisman. Wisman gets a good start in the outside lane. Barker's going to battle back and pick up the race lead on the bottom. He's going to clear the 00, and the 00 can't get back to the bottom because fastest qualifier Kyle Grove is right there. Wisman gets sideways off of turn number 4, collects it back up and maintains the 3rd spot. Colton Ritchie now to the outside of Wisman for the 3rd spot as Kyle Grove tries to hunt down the race lead. 3 wide back in the pack between Passwater Sr., Smith, and Moss as Wisman spins off of turn number 4. Caution. Barker and Grove. Green flag is back in the air. Barker gets a little sideways. Grove is going to pull ahead into turn number 1. Barker tries to battle back, but Grove's going to power around to the race lead on the outside of the racetrack into turn number 3. Kyle Grove, your fastest qualifier, new race leader. Colton Ritchie gets his nose underneath the 1 or the 11 of TJ Barker. Looking to take over that 2nd spot. Colton Ritchie with a good move. Into turn number 3 the last time. He will clear the 11 of Barker. Move the 21 of Ritchie to 2nd. Barker back to 3rd. Passwaters Jr. 4th. And Gary Hoopengarner in 5th. Hoopengarner took a look to the outside of Passwaters as Passwaters took a look to the inside of Barker. Barker closed the door. Grove starting to pull away from Ritchie. Larry Smith gets sideways off of turn number 2 and keeps on trucking. As here comes the 74 of Passwaters to the outside of the 11 of Barker. He's going to slide up and allow the 1 of Hoopengarner to get around. Move Gary Hoopengarner up to the 4th spot. Hoopengarner now to the outside of the 11 of Barker in turn number 1. He'll get alongside down the back straightaway. Into turn number 3, battle for 3rd. Good battle for the 3rd spot. TJ Barker trying to hold on to that 3rd spot. Hoopengarner trying to take it away. Passwaters Jr. looking along. And the 03 of Ambrose, the 44 of Smith. Watch that battle in front of him. Smith goes to the outside of Ambrose. As Smith and Wisman both get sideways off of turn number 2, Hoopengarner unable to get around Barker for the third spot. Passwater's right there in 5th. Kyle Grove has built up a full straightaway lead over Colton Ritchie. Three-way battle for third spot. Barker on the bottom. He's going to get sideways and pull to the infield. Barker got sideways. Moved the one of Hoopengarner up to the third spot. Passwaters to 4th. Larry Smith to 5th. White flag for Kyle Grove. Off turn number 4, your fastest qualifier is your feature winner, Kyle Grove. Second place to Colton Ritchie.
1 and 1. Stop on the backstretch.
Gary Hoopengarner will finish 3rd. Larry Smith 4th. Bob Passwaters Jr. in 5th. Good third place run for Magic Shoes. Gary Hoopengarner in the number 1, who threaded his way up. Grove and Hoopengarner had to work their way up from towards the back of the pack. Once Grove got to the outside of Barker, he was able to check out. And pulling into victory lane in the El Pueblitos Mexican Cuisine, South Philly Pizza, Stewart Flooring, JD Byrider, CNAC Financing, Greg's Recovery. Sponsored number 3, your JD Byrider Street Stock feature winner, Kyle Grove. I hear you that the fans are out in droves tonight. You can hear them over there in turn 4.
Oh yeah, I love when they come. They support me.
Hey, I'll tell you what, you had to work your way up through. Everything was clean and green for you. Once you got to the outside of TJ, you pretty much checked out from there, and then you didn't get any more cautions, which was a good thing because you had a pretty big lead.
Yeah, I was glad there was no more cautions. I was getting hot in there, and yeah, it's been a while. I'm glad I'm back here.
Anybody you want to thank on this 3 tonight?
Yeah, everybody helps me. My dad, Ray for coming to help me tonight. My girlfriend, just everybody, my buddy TJ.
Man, are you glad to see me back in victory lane?
Yeah, I missed you.
All right, man. Congratulations. Good run. Your feature winner in your JD Byrider Street Stock Division, Kyle Grove. TJ Barker with a good run. And I'll tell you what, man, you battled hard, didn't you?
I drove with what I had.
Well, you did a nice job. You hung in there and just got loose off of turn 4, and what are you going to do, you know?
That car's way faster than mine. I ain't got no chance to beat that car.
Well, congratulations. Good run anyway.
Thanks.
TJ Barker in the number 11. Went to the infield earlier, but was running in the top 3. Led quite a bit of the opening laps of the JD Byrider Street Stock feature. Is the 15 of Kyle Finlayson, the 27 of Britt Van Meter. The 57 is Mike Swaney. The 21 is Gage Jayberg. The 69 tonight is John McNutt. The 4 is Blaine Salisbury. The 50 is your fastest qualifier, Joe Oliver.
Stop on the backstretch. Good luck.
The 7 is Zach Koger. The 01 is Hunter Corbett. The 6. The 6 is Dakota Harder. The 17 is Laney Stresky. Green flag is in the air. Joe Oliver trying to make a move into turn number 1 as Christian Bailey will take over the race lead. Alan Clark up into second. Bailey will lead lap number 1. Alan Clark runs second. Battle for third as the 24 of Scheffler pulls off. France and Bailey. Bring the field into turn number 3. Off turn number 4, the 15-lap Canton Auto Salvage Compact Feature is green. Bailey will get another good restart and pull Alan Clark with him up to the front 2 spots. Christian Bailey, your race leader down the back straightaway. Clark is going to fall in behind. Here comes Lisa Moore. Lisa Moore up into the 3rd spot. Brett Van Meter up to 4th. Brandon France back to 5th. Here comes Gage Jayberg, and now Schreffler trying to thread the needle. A little bit of contact, 3 wide. Contact, Salisbury goes into the wall in turn number 1. Still 14 laps to go. Bailey and Clark in turn number 3. They'll come off of turn number 4. And your compact feature is green once again. Clark's going to get a little push from Van Meter. Little tandem drafting into turn number 1. Not able to push through. Now 3 wide. Van Meter splits the middle. Clark gets pushed high. Lisa Moore on the bottom. Move Britt Van Meter up to the 2nd spot behind Christian Bailey. Here comes Joe Oliver trying to thread the needle. He looked to go to the middle. Alan Clark closed the door. The 21 of Gage Jayberg on the bottom. Nowhere for Oliver to go. Oliver now goes 3 wide to the outside. Joe Oliver with a strong move on the outside. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Oliver will move to the 4th spot. Set his sights on Lisa Moore for the 3rd spot. Brett Van Meter trying to take over the race lead. Christian Bailey, your race leader, with 4 laps complete. Here comes Oliver to the inside of Van Meter for the 2nd spot. Oliver now looks to the inside of Christian Bailey into turn number 3. Bailey slams the door. Van Meter tries to battle back on the outside. Joe Oliver in 2nd. Bailey still your race leader with 6 complete. Oliver now looks to the outside. Van Meter gets down in the 3rd spot in front of Gage Jayberg. Here comes the 69 of McNutt in 5th. He's to the outside of the 21 of Jayberg. Moved the 69 up to 4th. Here's Oliver just ahead at the line. Bailey on the bottom. Oliver on the top. Here comes McNutt. The 46 is trying to hold the bottom. Bailey gets into the 50 of Oliver. Oliver will pull ahead down the back straightaway. Bailey falls to 2nd. John McNutt going to take over the 2nd spot from Christian Bailey. A little bit of contact off of turn number 4, but McNutt up to 2nd. Oliver, your race leader. McNutt runs 2nd. Bailey in 3rd. Gage Jayberg in 4th. Britt Van Meter back to 5th. Mike Swaney in 6th. Coming up on lap traffic. Lap traffic goes to the 3rd groove as your leaders will bypass on the bottom of the racetrack. The 42 machine and also Hunter Corbett in the 01 give way as Gage Jayberg tries to take over the 3rd spot from Bailey on the outside. John McNutt with a power move to the outside of the 50 of Oliver. McNutt and Oliver side by side for the race lead. Gage Jayberg up to the 3rd spot. Bailey back to 4th. Van Meter and Swaney battle for 5th. Still side by side for the race lead. Five more circuits. Can McNutt get around the fastest qualifier, Joe Oliver? Gage Jayberg is coming in that 3rd spot. Christian Bailey still runs 4th. Mike Sweeney up to 5th. Still getting through lap traffic. Here's McNutt to the outside of the 50 of Oliver once again. Here comes Jayberg. 3-way battle for the top spot in your Canton Auto Salvage Compact Division. 3 more circuits to go. Jayberg to the inside of McNutt. Jayberg will get around McNutt for the 2nd spot. Oliver, Jayberg, McNutt. Front 3 machines, nose to tail in turn number 1. Christian Bailey back to the 5th spot now as Swaney moves up to 4th. Off turn number 4, white flag in the air for the 3-way battle between Oliver, Jayberg, and McNutt. Into turn number 3, Jayberg packs it in on the high lane. McNutt tries to battle back to the bottom off turn number 4. Your winner, Joe Oliver. The 21 of Jayberg finishes in the 2nd spot. The 69 of John McNutt will finish 3rd. The 57 of Mike Swaney in 4th. The 46 of Christian Bailey rounds out your top 5.
Oh, there goes the clutch. The best race of the night.
John McNutt took the first shot at Oliver. Unable to get it done on the outside. He worked and worked and worked and worked on the outside lane. Couldn't quite get it done. Then Gage Jayberg came up and took over the 2nd spot. And he made a couple tries. But Oliver, your fastest qualifier, was able to hang on. In the Bad Boys Sandblasters, Note Tuning, Stewart's Flooring, Oliver's Garage, Tierra's Hair Care, sponsored number 50. Put your hands together for your feature winner, Joe Oliver.
Claiming your motor, Joe.
What's up, Joey?
Joe.
What's up, Joe?
Another win.
Come on, man. You know I always call you Joey.
Nobody calls me Joey.
I just did. Hey, I'll tell you what. McNutt gave you a handful there for a while. I thought once you got out front, you was going to set sail. But then McNutt comes up on the outside, and he battled, but this car was just strong on the bottom.
I know McNutt's fast. He's on the outside, run me clean, but I was just still playing with him. Still, I had more. Once I get out front, it just let it go.
And then Jayberg came up there and took a couple shots, but like you said, this 50 was just too strong tonight.
Yep. Thanks to, where's he at? I don't know if he's here or not. Knack Tuning, wherever you are, if he's here. We got cards back there to hand out.
Who else you want to thank on this 50 tonight, man?
Oliver's Garage, Bad Boy, Buggies.
Sandblasters.
Yeah, whatever.
Buggies is a truck sponsor, but that's okay. You can plug them
Maybe
too.
We'll race them next year.
There you go. Who else?
Terrace Hair Care, Stewart's Flooring. Just everybody helps me.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Joe Oliver back in victory lane. Big round of applause for the number 50 team. Don't forget, next Saturday night here at Midvale Speedway, July 25th, kids bicycle races. Make sure you stop down, bring your bicycle. sure we'll get some adults to come out and play with the bicycles next week. And then in 2 weeks, Fan Appreciation Night, Autograph Night. What's up, Slaters? Good to see the Slaters here tonight.